we need to get some Americans back to the rugged individualism that came long before us.
And that was a thing in our country that we prided ourselves on. And that's the thing I remember from my grandfather being a picker from Mexico and working on a farm and then having his own farm. I don't remember. He may have taken aspirin. I don't remember him ever taking it. He probably did. That some bitch was harder than hell. My grandfather would work his ass off and smiling, eating chili peppers with salt at the end of the day too. That was it. That's grandpa. That's abuelo. And grandma, she didn't play no games. No, I whooped my ass if I got in trouble, and she'd tell me to and that went to my mom too. Pick your ass up, get through it, boy. You're all right.
Hey, brother, I challenge you right now, and it's recorded, so it's true. Ian will hold this, right? I challenge you, and I hope you challenge me, hold me accountable. But when I'm that age of grandfather age, 75 or whatever I'm going to be, I want to be cutting wood, right? I want to be working with my hands with no gloves in the cold or the heat, doing stuff on the range, fixing fences or whatever the hell, outside with the dog.
Battle Line Podcast, Chris Dutch Moyer on for his second appearance on the show. He was on for episode 129, JSOC operator, Army Ranger, combat veteran. And you know what I should say real quick before we get into everything is there's a ton of new people checking us out because YouTube has finally recognized us. We're finally in people's algorithms. We really are, though, man, because I'm getting a ton of comments on YouTube videos that are like, I'm just discovering this show now. I can't believe I didn't know you guys existed. So, yeah, for those people who don't know what we do here, it's myself and Ian Scotto, Chris Peranto, and we cover stuff in the Second Amendment community, stuff going on in the military community, and just like inspiration from some really cool dudes and occasionally ladies.
Well, and we get some great musicians, man. Guys and most of the music is like, hey, we got to get this guy. I used to listen to him when I was in Iraq. Hey, we got to get Corey Taylor because Slipknot. I used to get pumped up to those guys. Or Pillar. We got to listen to Pillar. Rob.
Yeah, Rob from Pillar.
From Pillar, because man, that's where the battle line Nick. So and those guys come on. I love those. From Carnifex lead singer.
Scotty and Lewis.
Scotty and Lewis. That's still one of my favorite interviews. And I don't care if you like death metal or not. He was.
Yeah, sometimes the interviews are not, you're not expecting because Rob from Pillar, not a band I was personally familiar with. I knew you were a fan.
Oh, yeah,
and
I love
yet
Pillar.
it was such an inspirational interview.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's usually guys, if they're not in the military, like myself, I'm a civilian, there are guys who have respect for the military or guys who are into the Second Amendment community.
Or family had family members that were military.
There's usually some connection there. It's not like we just have random people on, but we're not the average Vet Bro podcast where it's just those type of guys. We think a little bit outside the box. So before we get into everything, actually, I wanted to remind you that if you haven't checked it out, we do have an Etsy store. We have pins available. We're probably going to add some more, maybe 2024 closer to there. But it's battlelinepodcast.etsy.com. Go there now, battlelinepodcast.etsy.com. And this show is sponsored by our great friends at Bubs Naturals, the best MCT oil powder, the best collagen protein, apple cider vinegar gummies, and they give back 10% of all proceeds, all profits go to the Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation in honor of Glenn Bub Doherty. And we were just recognizing the anniversary of 9/11, both Benghazi and 9/11 2001.
Yeah.
And Bub was one of the guys there, and he is the inspiration for that brand.
And Sean, the owner of it, one of the owners, he was one of Bub's best friends. And so it just made sense for them to name it Bub's and for the late Glenn Doherty. And guys, the product is tremendous. I've ripped my quad and quadricep tendon, and it's been a year now, and it has helped me rehab to where I'm out running and biking. I just biked 20 miles yesterday on my Peloton bike, and I ran 2 miles today. I can't tell you enough how well that stuff works. And the MCT oil, now it's the Halo Creamer with the MCT oil or without, but just add that to your coffee. That's all you need. It just, everything tastes good. And I ran the Bubs coffee through my Keurig with one of those. Oh my gosh, that is a smooth. I thought Team Beer Vet coffee was smooth. That stuff is tremendous. I love that coffee. So if you don't like, whatever you think about Bubs and 9/11, the products is awesome, but then they also give back to that Glenn Doherty Memorial Foundation. For me and for those that do support veterans and do support Benghazi, that's a no-brainer to get their product right there. But the quality speaks for itself.
Yeah, and you'll see it at some stores, but you're going to get a great deal through us. The best deal through us really is bubsnaturals.com. Use the promo code BATTLELINE for 20%. You show your support for this show, and you're also going to love their product. So bubsnaturals.com, promo code BATTLELINE for 20% off.
From Kansas City to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battle Line Podcast.
The switch is on, Battle Line Podcast. The audience doesn't know this, but we spent 20 minutes setting up this interview.
Yeah, that was
we are ready to go. Part 2 with Chris Dutch Moyer, JSOC operator, Army Ranger combat veteran, tactical instructor with DCM Consulting. And he was last on with us for episode 129.
Got to give shout out to the Sawmill. If he's at the Sawmill, we
at
got
the Sawmill.
Sawmill is a pretty big deal in the tactical instruction world.
So
yes, it's a good place.
Last on with us, episode 129, which was a year prior to this. We didn't have video going on. Now that we have video, but yeah, that's the introduction. It's great to have you back on, man.
Very exciting. It was funny when you wrote me, you go, "Hey, bro, I haven't heard from you in a while. Would you like to be on a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll jump on because I like talking. I like hanging out with decent people, right?"
Yeah, that's debatable. Some people say that's debatable. Hanging out with decent people on our end, not your end. You're decent, dude.
Well, you know, just so we know, I said decent, not good.
Oh, thank you for fucking clarifying that. That's
because we're all jacked up, ripped up, broken. Just ask the man; he'll tell you. We all know it. We're all jerked up. So
yeah,
I'm telling you. Hey, let me tell you something. You bring me on board, which is it's a blessing in itself. But my last 40 days have been whirlwind.
Why? What's going on?
Let's hear about it.
Yeah, what's going on?
I dissolved a marriage, entered into a new relationship. I have a dog. I got a job here at the Sawmill. Broken, ask for forgiveness. Oh yeah, the whole deal, dude.
Was it the dog that was messing? Remember the last one we did? The dog, was that your dog or was that the neighbor's dog?
It was my dog, Mark. It wasn't mine.
So you gave the pain in the ass dog back to the ex, and
no,
you got
a
new dog.
That was it was hers all the way. This is I have a Belgian Malinois.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Of course. But I've trained him, and I've worked with him on the battlefield. She is really easy. I can't see her here right now. Her name is Kaya. Great dog.
Was it a working dog? Seriously?
No, but she could easily be one.
Oh, awesome.
She's got drive out the yin yang. Awesome. She's 1 year old. Let's see if we can see her here. We see her without going too crazy.
Without jacking something else up. Oh, hi.
Oh, no.
She's a
say something, Chris, so that the people can see it on cam.
Kaya. Oh, what do you want to do? She wants to do something. What do you want to do? Hey, Lout. How about Lout? Lout. Good.
Oh.
Get up there and stay. Come here.
She's little. She's a puppy, dude. How old was she? Like maybe not even a year?
Yeah, she's a year.
Oh, that's awesome. No, good dogs.
Here. Hook up there. Hook up. Come on. Hook. Yep. Off legging.
Nice. No,
so give us the full story of what's going on. I mean, it sounds like a lot of stuff. If you want to get into it, you mentioned it, not us. So
I hardly ever talk about
at this point.
I hardly ever talk about personal stuff. It's just
you brought it up, bro.
Also true. just to say that it's been a great struggle. You know, when I say
Good.
great means large or intense struggle, it doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's really cool. It's been an interesting struggle, a lot of things to process, but I joined in a relationship that I can't even explain. No one would believe me if I did, and maybe another day we could talk about it, but she's absolutely amazing. Then I had to leave there. I got a job here. I got the dog somewhere else, and so it's just been a whirlwind. So it's
Well,
in the end, you know, in the end, bad things can come of good things. Or sorry, good things can come of bad things, and that's what's happening right now.
well, you're spot on with it. Well, shit, you can just talk about that on the battlefield, man. That's how good things come into bad things turn into good things, and that's why you're able to persevere, because you've already been through it. You've already been through a lot, and it's nothing that you can't handle. And it's the things that are happening are good. They're struggle, they're hard to get through, but you're powering through them. It's a good thing, though, right? On the other, you're coming out of a dark spot, maybe, is what you're saying. And
Yeah, we all suffer some way, and
Oh, yeah. Good deal.
I will be better for it, and I want to fix the things that I've already broken. And you know, I don't know, you know, fix the things with my daughter, stuff like that. So, you know, that'll happen in time, but
Yeah.
it's just it's just been a whirlwind of 40 days. That's all. And
If I could
stuff
ask
like
on
this
that,
makes it better.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
no,
Thanks, bud.
and if I could ask on that, you know, because I've become friends with a lot of veterans over the years, especially a lot of special ops guys in combat, and there's definitely a number of guys who have had issues with their family like that. I mean, Chris included.
Yeah.
Is it related to like you being away on deployments, like that type of stuff?
So, but what was the question exactly?
No, I was saying, is the relationship with your daughter, is it related to like you being away on deployments and just not having that connection?
That's probably where it started. You know, she and her mother have a much better relationship than I had
Sure.
with her. You know, some of that, the way time goes, you know, who knows how that exactly happens. All of a sudden you turn around and, oh, it's happened.
Yeah.
I still traveled a lot. I would come here to train. I would train other places. You know, last year was a big travel year for me. Idaho, Indiana, Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, you know, you're just gone a lot.
Yeah,
Wisconsin, Michigan. Excuse me. I have some COVID, I think. But I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's just, okay, maybe we need a fresh start. And it's never easy, especially with, you know, she's 16. And maybe someday I can convince her that I'll have her understand it because I can explain it better. But, you know, her mother's a great person. I get it. Just.
Yeah.
It genuinely sounds like where you were at 5 years ago, Chris. Tonto, it's other Chris.
Well, yeah, and Dutch, I feel you. It's you know, it was easier for me with my son, with my 18-year-old son when he was 16. I maybe it's a daddy son thing. My daughter's 14, and it is harder to connect with me and her. And when I was gone, and you know, I'm home a lot more now. I don't travel as much, but I think, I'll be honest with you, it's a son-daughter thing. Because my son, we were able to bury the hatchet when he was 16 and have her coming to Jesus, and now we're great. I mean, shit, he wears number 13 for his numbers in college now too, and he did this little video. A lot of you don't know because you will not. I'm not allowed to follow him because Mama doesn't want nobody to know who he is on social media. But he posted a cool video of he goes, "This is why we're 13," and he did the movie. And
That's cool. I think that's super cool.
But
by the way, ironically, I'm wearing number 13. Oh, if you can see it, but it's not for Tonto. It's for Matt Barzell on the Islanders.
We'll say it's for Tonto, but my daughter, I'll be honest, man, it's a lot harder. She's there were just a few weeks ago. Not that she's it's just daddy daughters and mama. Sometimes the moms that time that they don't need dad as much as mom. And there was me and my daughter have had some knockdown, drag out arguments there as she become a teenager. So I think a lot of it did. Seriously, it's just the daughter. It's the daughter daddy. I think we all go through it with teenagers, and then when we're gone a lot, and we were gone a lot when they were growing up. We weren't present. It's just magnified because of us being not present when they were growing up as well.
And that's
So,
certainly possible. But if I look at it through the protector mindset, the leadership, that's the
Yeah.
only place I would struggle really hard was this is my duty.
yeah.
Well, I'm the guy in charge here, so I should be doing these things. And I strayed, and and it just made
Yeah.
it more complicated. But enough of that. I want to talk about Ian Scotto's love for the Islanders. What?
I'm on Long Island, bro. Of course.
Long Island.
Wait, who's your team?
Okay, so if I really didn't like the Islanders a whole lot, or don't get me wrong, I respect, 'cause I love hockey.
Red
The
Wings.
Rangers team, the New York Rangers,
right, yeah,
would be much more of a rivalry to me. So who do you think I'm a fan of?
Well, because I was
Rangers.
gonna say you're not a New Yorker, so I wouldn't assume you're a Ranger fan.
So Ranger rivalry.
Yeah. Oh, so who has a Ranger rivalry? Are you thinking the Flyers? Are you thinking the Boston Bruins? Are you thinking
Metro,
the Oilers?
Metro.
I don't.
No, Metro Division, bro.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't. I'm not so diehard that I can think of this off the top of my head. Who are you a fan of?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right.
My uncle's in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh,
Ah.
but I mean
Metro,
Pittsburgh.
Metro Division. I've been a Penguin fan ever since one of the first Penguins died. Not a human, but a penguin. And back in the day when they wore blue instead of black and gold. And I'm a huge Penguin fan since back in the day.
You can't hate on the Penguins, though. I mean, legendary Mario Lemieux and Crosby is still a beast, man.
Jaromir Jagr. Crosby played every game last year. Him and Malkin both played every game. And so you're thinking, well, how they played so poorly because their bottom six was so bad. And Ron Hextall, Philadelphia Flyer fame, didn't do so well as a general manager. And now you got, the Toronto Maple Leaf. What's his name? Why can't I think of his name right now?
John Tavares, you're saying who
Dumas.
left the Islanders?
The GM from Toronto came down.
Oh, I don't know.
That's so funny. I can't remember his name. I know exactly who he is. I just can't think
GM of the Maple Leafs. I could look it up.
Yeah, he came down. Yeah, it's look it up. It's ridiculous. I know who it is. I just can't think of it.
Maple Leafs GM. Hockey fans are like, what's going on here? Brad Treliving?
That's the new one. That's the new one.
Okay, I see
Kyle Dubas.
Kyle Dubas. Yeah,
Kyle Dubas.
That. Okay.
I got it before you said it. Thank the Lord.
Yeah, I don't pretend like if we had Chris Dykos on here or Will Chiarucci have been on, they're like die hard hockey. I'm a more casual fan. I'll be the first to say. But are you originally a Pittsburgh guy?
Yeah, so I was born in California, but when I was 7 years old, I was in Pennsylvania. So we started. What was that? That was 1910. No, that was I was born in 64, so 72. I'm in Pittsburgh area, and my mother and father is funny because they used to like the LA Rams. Roman Gabriel was a big quarterback back then.
Yeah,
Big
wow.
fan. Yeah,
That's
and
a
so
long time
they
ago.
start liking the Steelers. I start liking the Pirates and the Penguins. But so weird, my NFL love was the Miami Dolphins because the first real football game I ever saw was Miami versus Baltimore when they were Baltimore, the Colts. And,
Yep.
And Paul Warfield replaced Bob Greasy, and he threw a touchdown pass to Earl Morrill.
You're old as
Threw
shit,
a
dude.
touchdown pass to Paul Warfield, and they went to the Super Bowl and they played Dallas and they got smashed. And I decided I liked them ever since. But the next year after that, they went 17-0 and they won the Super Bowl. And they won the Super Bowl the next year as well. So I was like, well, now I'm a Dolphin fan. So
I still occasionally go to Pittsburgh because half my family, like my uncle's in Pittsburgh, I have other people in Pittsburgh. There's a great Argentinian restaurant there called Gaucho Paria. Shameless plug, even though they're not sponsored, but they're great place. But yeah, it's funny, and then we'll get on to other stuff. But I'm not even a huge football guy, but I mean, the biggest football news is here for the Jets, how Aaron Rodgers, everyone was like, they're going to the Super Bowl this year. They're going all the way, like 2 minutes into the game. And on 9/11, running out there with the American flag, and this guy's career is done already.
Well, I don't know about his career. I mean, he can fight back. But
possibly.
I hope he does. You think, though, I was just listening to Steve Dace from the Blaze Radio Network, and they were talking about him. He's like, do you think your last moment, right? In either one of you two professionally, would your last moment be the moment they carried you off?
Yeah, you got to rehabilitate. That's a hell of a rehabilitation, snapping your freaking Achilles.
One more time. It took what? Kobe Bryant, it took him like 8 months. But
Yeah,
like
but-
the other basketball player, Garrett, a big tall dude. Anyway,
Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. It took him
Yeah.
like 500 days.
Yeah, but they were like in their 30s. Aaron Rodgers like is 75.
Like,
I mean,
75.
he's old as dirt, dude. I mean, he's old like us. But no, I hope he'll come back. I mean, that's
I
just
think he'll come
how
back.
they are. That's just how they are. He will, even if he's
hope
not
so.
ready, he will, just because they wouldn't be the athletes of that caliber and played that long.
And I
for-
agree with that. And I root for the older guys. Yeah, I loved rooting for Tom Brady. I'm not a Patriot fan. I wasn't a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, but I like the fact that he's older and still unbelievable at the top of his game, you know?
Well, and they still love the game, in my opinion. You always love the older guys. I mean, you're bringing back Miami Dolphins. I figured you like Miami because of Dan Marino and his Pittsburgh connection.
Yep. So that was part of it. That was an easy connection for me to continue to like, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
That's
Man,
crazy.
I still got 2 of his rookie cards too. I wonder how much those things are worth. And him and Elway that year, I got a bunch of football rookie cards, and they had a great year. I was Marcus Allen, that was John Elway, and that was Dan Marino, and I got all those rookie cards somewhere in boxes. So maybe that's my retirement right there. I don't know. I got to see how much they're worth.
Look on eBay, man. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, the guy's a freak of nature. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers is the same. But hey, getting into some like stuff that this audience expects of us. The last time you were on, and this has become kind of an infamous moment because we've referenced it a few times. When we were speaking about the attack in Benghazi, you had a lot to say about while you were, I believe at the time at JSOC, you were confirming that there were indeed guys in the area who could have been there, who wanted to go there, and were told to stand down.
And I cut you off, just like
and a
Ian.
lot of that got interrupted. So I feel like I'd like if you could just relay that whole thing uninterrupted because people want to hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute me right now. Just
Don't mute yourself.
No, don't mute you. No. So here's what I liked about your question right now, because what day is it, man? It's September 14th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
September 11th is fresh in my mind. And
sure.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it 12 years later, 10 years later? It was 11 years later.
It's been 11 years later. It's been
11 years later, another terrorist attack on 9/11. Obviously, it's for a reason. The Islamic terrorist. Wait, what did I say? Islamic. Yes. The Islamic
and I thought
terrorist.
You were saying 11 years since the date. Since it's 11 years since the date, and then it was 2012. So 11 years also from 9/11. You're correct,
yeah, but
right?
The Islamic terrorist loves anniversaries. That was my point. Yeah. They really dig anniversaries. And in this case, of course, they did this on 9/11 again. They planned this. They knew it. You guys were handed a crap sandwich. The video, the movie rather, Michael Bay's movie portrays that, and it's true. You did great things.
Well, what happened with it? You know, because we got into it and the guys were moving, and then I cut you off, and I wish I wouldn't. I'm like, gosh, why?
I don't even remember, man. I don't even remember.
But well, then why? When they were moving, what happened? I mean, why did they change? They divert them or what?
Well,
with not just with the SIFT. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with 10th with SIFT too that was moving, but your guys.
So they were in Spain, right? Some of those guys were in Spain.
So what happened, man? Because you were still working at the time. You were still weren't you still with?
So I was refurnishing a kitchen, and I was doing some wiring in the kitchen, and it was late. You know, it was like 10 o'clock at night. 9, something like that.
Yeah,
and I had a pager, right? I'm still on alert. I had a pager.
That's old school, yeah.
And we had to have it, right? Kaya, come here. I'm telling a story. Come here. Gosh, there's another dog in here now. So things are going crazy. Come up here. Nope. Look up here. Up legging.
Moyer's always all over the place, dude. That's why.
The theme of Dutch on the show is always going to be like having a dog in the background.
Get a dog, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It's like having a child, right, all the time, but they're just stronger and more hard-headed. So I get alerted. I go to work. I'm like, I got to go to work. So I go to work, and I don't really have a job because I'm kind of retired on active duty. I'm ready to get out. I got out in 13. This is late 12. I already gave my job over to someone else. I'm going through the medical process.
Yep.
I haven't turned in my kid, I don't believe, but I wasn't really doing much. So I went to the Tactical Operations Center, and I became I was a senior guy there, and I just kind of hung out. Our guys went. They jetted off, and I don't know this to be true. So listen when I say this. I don't know this to be true, but if they weren't allowed to get on the ground, then I believe that they probably launched. They launched in preparation for POTUS, for POTUS approval. But that, without a doubt, that kind of operation, there's no way POTUS. There's no way we're going to do that without the POTUS approval. There's just no way. There's no way that's going to happen without POTUS approval. So that's probably why, Chris. Nobody ever was allowed to go anywhere because POTUS wouldn't allow it. And when I talk to other professionals, and I remember talking to professionals in Beirut when I was doing my job, and I'm talking to a young officer, and he's like, "Well, why didn't we do anything?" I mean, what are you kidding me? To do for any kind of large force like that, to make an impact somewhere, to do something that goes SecDef POTUS.
Yeah.
And clear to me, POTUS didn't want anything to do with it. And you can speculate on why. You can go through the gun running thing, because that was a thing.
Yeah.
You can go through, I don't want to screw up the spring. What do they call it? The spring
Arab Spring.
Arab Spring.
Thank you. We don't want to screw that up. We'll sacrifice these people. I don't think that they're evil enough to say we're going to go ahead and sacrifice this station. But if they didn't do anything when they could do something, that leads me to believe that they were willing to sacrifice some Americans, not to ruin whatever Arab Spring or whatever operation they had going on. And that's horrible.
And we had, I still Al-Qaeda, I still remember Al-Qaeda's on the run. They're not a threat. And that was his big push.
JV. They were JV, right?
Yeah, they were JV. That was Zawa, even though Zawahiri's going, yeah, whatever, motherfucker. We're on the run.
Did he say at the time that Al-Qaeda was JV or ISIS was a JV?
ISIS was starting to come up. They hadn't yet. It was part of Al-Sharia and all those other groups out there. They were JV. Al-Qaeda was non-existent. They were on the run. We don't have to worry about him. And Zawahiri, he's sitting back there in Afghanistan and Pakistan going, yeah, you're an idiot. We're going to come kick the shit out of some. And Zawahiri, hey, man.
But isn't that, so Ian, that's your job. You got to look that crap up. While we're but I think
from what I remember, I think he said ISIS was JV. I'll look it up.
Hey,
but maybe right.
ISIS was JV, but Al Qaeda wasn't even worth worrying about. That's what Al Qaeda was. I do remember he was on the run.
Was a good quote. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. New York Times, 2015. Obama likens ISIS to JV.
And McCain said, what did he say?
This was before ISIS
friendly
really
militias.
Formed.
And so
before they really formed, he said that they were moderate rebels.
Moderate rebels. It's like, what the hell? Some moderate, whatever. You only killed you a little bit. Is that what a moderate?
And he had
rebel
pictures. And he had pictures with them. I mean, we could put them up on the screen. He had pictures with them.
I know. We said he came to Tripoli. I remember when I was doing GRS in Tripoli before I went to Benghazi. I still remember him. I still remember sitting on the steps there at the annex there in Tripoli. This was 3 months before I had to go to Benghazi because we switched different stations, and that was where I met Bub. But regardless, I'm sitting there drinking coffee in my Ranger Silkies, got my T-shirt on. I'm just
your Ranger panties?
My Ranger panties, Silkies. They do fit like panties on my nice legs. I got no problem admitting that I got nice cheeks and those things. But regardless, we're getting off subject of my sexiness. Anyway, I'm sitting there in my sexiness, drinking my cup of coffee, and he comes in with the ambassador, and him and Hicks get out of the car. Greg Hicks, the deputy, and they get out and they're going to go meet our chief. And I hate me or not, but you know how he is. He's been a POW. His arms are short. So he gets out. I know it's him. And I remember looking, going, what the hell is John McCain doing here? But who we're working for, we see crazy shit like that all the time, or somebody, fuck it, who cares? Finish my coffee. He walks in and I give him the chin. Yeah, I'm sitting in my chair. Hey, what's up, sir? And he goes in and that's the last time I saw him. But he was in Libya, 90 days before we got hit, and he'd come back and forth. And that's when the moderate rebel thing was so funny to me. So I don't know. That's kind of a story. That's what it reminded me of, dude. But your stuff, what I wanted to get at is I'm in agreement with you is there's been, people hammered Hillary, people hammered Panetta, people hammered Ham, which they should hammer those people. Obama never got touched. And he's the commander in chief. He's the one that's in charge. Nothing. And that's where it should have been too. I mean, Hillary, she got her due because she wasn't president.
What due did she really get, bro? Come on.
All right. Should she have gone to prison? Yes. Should she have there's a lot of things that could have happened, but her losing to Trump was kind of egg on the face. And so maybe she got a little bit. I think she deserved
but Chris,
more. Yeah.
At this point, what difference?
What difference does it make? Well, you're a fucking comedian. You got another career, brother, right there. But you're right. On the Obama side of the house, nothing has ever.
No.
And that is where, hey, man, the culpability lies is at the very top. But
again, these people would think that. Wait a minute. You think elements of the National Mission Force, or you think some sort of special forces unit is just going to go to a sovereign nation on their own? No, dude, you can't do that, right? And so, I mean, look at all the bombs we might have dropped on somebody in Yemen or something else, right? Yeah. You're getting approval from the boss.
Yeah,
that's it. So, wide-eyed young officers, I would tell them, I said, this is a POTUS approval thing, and because it's funny, right? People would ask me, how come you couldn't do anything about it? They could. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
What about an AC-130? How hard would that be to get from? Was there an AC-130?
Oh yeah.
In
Sigonella, it's Little Italy,
Sigonella?
and that was on station for just that sort of shit that was going on. There was a SEAL team south of us. There was.
What about fast movers? Sigonella, right?
Actually, they were in Aviano, and there were two at Suda Bay and Suda Bay, Greece. If I want people to look in the map, look how close Suda Bay is to us. It takes 30 minutes on a prop to get from Suda Bay to Benghazi. Come on, man. There's two sitting there, and they're part of the 555th. So. I'll never know. We'll never know, and I don't think anything will ever come of it. If we do know, it's going to be quite a few years from now.
I hope we do know. I hope we do find out. But you're probably right. Besides the vast majority of Americans whom I love, but whom are ignorant, I love them, but they don't care because they want to know about the Kardashian sisters. They don't care because they want to know who's winning on Dancing with the Stars. They don't care because they want to know who's the masked singer. I don't. Dude, that's true though. Or who won the football? Who won the football game?
Yeah.
Or I will say, for a lot of people, and like, this is less of an attack on those people. Americans work very hard, man, and it's a lot of people who are at work 8 hours a day. They don't have to work 12 hours a day. They don't have time for anything else, and they just want to know, why is the price of gas so high? Why is the price of groceries so high? And they don't even care about the history of why inflation is like this. They just have problems that are affecting them right now at this very moment, and they don't have time to research and go back, which is not this audience.
I love that point. That's exactly right. I leave me alone, right? Let me work hard. Let me provide for that family that I signed up for. And yes, I 100% agree with that. But come on now, we got to have some awareness as well. We just really have to get in the game. I told other young men that I know, get in the game, pay attention, because it's not good right now.
Well, yeah, I would agree. And actually, we have some. Well, we'll get into it in a little bit, I guess. But I mean, we have some news stories on that front. But what were you saying, Chris?
Well, but it's those people that are in charge, that are still in charge, that are, inflation. Who was vice president when Benghazi? If people would have been held accountable, maybe we would still be in these problems we're having right now, where gas is $5, or it's okay. Midwest, it's $4 now, but that's still pretty freaking high. And eggs are $3, and when they were 99, inflation is kicking our ass. If we don't hold people accountable for anything, then they're going to feel like they can, for anything, even how small, they're going to feel like they can get away with everything. And that's what's going on. And this is what it affects. So if you're not going to hold people accountable for what took place there, which was egregious, well, look what we're dealing with now. Now we are dealing with these because we have people with no integrity, no ethics that are involved. And I get the hard work. Hey guys, I'm buying the same shit. I'm going to Walmart and shopping just like everybody else. And I'm tired of paying twice as much as what I did for groceries for my family as I did 4 or 5 years ago. I'm tired of my IRAs, my retirement's dropping. But we're putting people in office that we know are unethical. And how do we know that? Well, because of 9/11, 2012, because of.
But I also just mean it goes back way further than who's in office. You know, I mean, I think people don't look back. Why did we get off the gold standard? Why is our money just what we're in debt to China to? And that goes way further back. I mean, we're talking about Woodrow Wilson. We're talking about Ronald Reagan. And I think people just want to know about why is it this way right now at this very minute? And you have to do a little research, I think, to really dig into why it is this way.
Gold
Unfortunately,
standard was,
I think a lot of people just don't have the
Nixon, by the
time
way.
for it. What were you saying?
Gold standard was Nixon, not Reagan.
No. But I'm saying there's things that go back for all different administrations. I mean, I'm just talking about Reagan. There's other stuff you can talk about.
Well,
why is the immigration problem where it is? You know, but you could actually look back to him on that. But I just mean Woodrow Wilson. You know, the stuff that happened in terms of the debt to China.
I've been one of the worst presidents ever. Yeah.
For sure, absolutely.
So when do we just say, okay, well, it just has always happened in the past, so it's going to continue to happen? When do we say enough's fucking enough? We're done. Stop.
That was my question, dude. I was thinking of my question. When does the rubber band snap back?
Because Ian's, you got great points. It does, but there's got to be a point where we're like, and we have the opportunity because of something egregious that we could actually, not because somebody's making up some ballot fixing. Oh, I fixed it. No, we actually have something that happened that we say, hey, you know what? We're stopping it right now. You let people die. You committed manslaughter. We're done. Stop it. Let's make an example. So we don't keep making these same mistakes. Because I agree with you, dude. Why do we get off the gold standard? That was pretty dumb. Now we're paying for it. In my opinion, I'm not a financial guru by any means, but there's got to be a time where we quit saying, well, man, it's always been like that. Okay, can we stop it then? Let's put a tourniquet on this motherfucker and get it taken care of.
It's a big ship, and it takes a long time for it to turn around, but I do believe it can. But like you mentioned before, all these old people, the same guy is back again as president. He used to be vice president. The same people are in charge. Now we look more like a communistic oligarchy than we should as a constitutional republic. And people say, "Oh, we're a democracy." They forget we're a republic. I heard a stat the other day. The average constitution lasts about 17 years. Look at ours. Our great experiment has lasted this long. But it will only last if we go back to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Otherwise, it will not work. This thing in Albuquerque, are you going to talk about that at all?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk. That's what I was saying. We have news stories. I think that'd be a great one to start with. I mean, so you have the governor there who's saying she's suspending right to carry entirely. I know that law enforcement there is saying they're not going to enforce it. Interrupt me. Tell me what you're saying.
Yeah, she had a meeting where there was at least 2 sheriffs in there, and one said, "Well, I have an issue, but I feel like it shouldn't happen." But, and then the other guy was like, "Eh." So they didn't have any spine at all. Later on, there was a third guy somewhere else that did say he was not going to enforce that at all, like the Illinois. So when J.B. Pritzker said about all this law enforcement have to do this stuff for gun control, every sheriff except for Pritzker's own county, which is I don't know what county is and where the state capital is in Illinois, but that's the only one. Everyone else said won't enforce this law. But now you had the people stand up, they protested, and then what happened to it just yesterday, right?
You can go on. You know about this more than I do. Keep going.
Yeah. So is it yesterday or is it today where they said a federal judge said, "You're wrong. It's constitutional. Your law doesn't work. It won't stand up."
But I didn't know that. Hey, we got to search it. Where's our searcher? I didn't know that.
No, I trust him on the because I just saw kind of what originally happened, and I was like, this would be a great topic for the show, especially having Chris on. And I mean, obviously, I'm in the same camp as you guys that if a state has carry permits, you got to follow that law. It's all part of the Second Amendment. I don't think a lot of these people that are in the gun grabber category who are in public office. I don't always think it's like some sinister plot. I really do think a lot of these people think this is what's going to stop mass shootings, but it's truly not. I mean, when we get into the core of the issue, for one, I think that with the technology now with 3D printing, it's going to make a lot of these gun control laws obsolete, and that's just the truth. And I think there's way bigger issues in terms of like the amount of these shooters who are on prescription medication. I mean, mental health issues. There's so many things to get into, but it would disrupt, I think, the entire economy, right? To change getting all these kids off prescription drugs. I mean, people in that category are always saying, well, America's not the only country with mental health issues, but we are the biggest consumers of all these prescription drugs that are having side effects of making people, you know, act in this way. I know, you know, can't fully blame the drugs. It is the people deciding to do this, but yeah, I think there's a real big problem, like to the core of where we're at right now as a country.
Yeah, go farther with that if I may. You know, look in the beginning. I told some folks here at the Sawmill, you look right at the beginning. The father. First of all, they're lacking even looking towards the father, the Abba, the father of all people, God himself. They don't even want to look to him. That's number one. So many families are broken anyway. Families that have children are lacking the man. Where's the man? And then they're fed by, you know what they're fed by? They're fed by this $1,000 thing they walk around with every day of their life, right? They're constantly looking at it, and they believe what TikTok says, and they believe what the whatever the media wants them to believe. They believe it because it's on the internet. It must be true. And it's really about itself, right? The idolatry that comes from that machine right there. And they're like, okay, this is self-serving. This is all about me. I get the dopamine blast when somebody likes what I say, or I can dress in scantily clothes and get paid for it. I mean, when I do a search on my IG, what do you think comes up?
Ass, but it's because you're a man, and that's what we all like to look at. So that's the truth.
I don't search it out on there, bro.
Yeah, but you watch it, because if we were all just looking at puppies, but here's the truth, man. As guys, as like high testosterone guys who are into this type of thing, if our options are ass or something that could be used for like our knowledge, it's just what we're naturally drawn to. Like this thing, the algorithm has us all figured out, and it knows what you're going to look at the most, and it knows how to waste our time on this bullshit. That's just the truth.
I'm telling you that. Well, that's true. While that's true, I'm sure I don't search for ass. So,
but you watch it. You definitely watch it if it comes up.
No,
Chris.
It makes me crazy because I'm not looking at it. I'm not searching for it. I'm not looking at it. So
yes, you are, dude. Because you know what's funny? I'll tell you this right now. Okay, on my own Instagram, right? Tons of ass, because I'm a guy, right? I have this burner account for my other job, which Chris knows, which is identity access management. I work for an identity access management company, and we have a TikTok. And I was like, I'm not putting fucking TikTok on my phone, Adam. I don't do anything on TikTok. I just post our stuff. None of that stuff comes up on this phone because I'm not searching it out. I'm not watching it. The algorithm has you figured out, man. It knows how to waste your time.
I'm telling you, I was listening to the podcast. There was a Navy SEAL, and I don't know which podcast it was. It was a great podcast though. And this guy said, it takes work, but you can do it. Because it takes you a long time to go in and eliminate that. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. I want to see less of, see less of, see less of.
Yeah.
And he goes, it does work. And then it takes even more work to continue to do it. He said, but it can work. I'm like, gosh, I started to do it. I'm like, it takes way more work than I want to put into.
He is spot on, because because what my stuff, a lot of stuff comes up on my main account now. A lot of it's God and prayers, because I've had to do that over, because it did initially. I'm with Ian. Ass. Jeez, what the hell is wrong with me? What am I? So you have to.
It's a reflection of yourself,
it is,
right?
It is. So, but it came in where it's like, man, okay, I got to knock this crap, because that's not, and that's self-realization. It's humbling. It's being humble. You got to be humble. You got to humiliate your, and you have to. But it took me It took me about a year of I'm not inappropriate, just not interested.
Yeah. So you got to do it, right?
So, but you have to do it. And now it doesn't pop up. Now I get what I feel better. I sure feel a lot more clean and a lot better about myself. But Ian's right on the algorithms, but you're also right now that we have the option to hit not interested, and it does move that out of there. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see gun porn anymore. I don't. And not being on it as much. I turn this thing off. I'll get on it every 5 days or so. And I'll actually log all the way out. So
I was doing some history posts for my prime posts because I'm restricted again on IG because
What'd
of
you-
my relationship with Maxim Defense. And
What? What
yeah,
happened?
because
Well,
Tell-
yeah,
what-
that
what
I
hap-
mean, I'm
yeah.
not surprised. That always hurts us, you know.
I reposted a rifle commercial.
Yeah, that
Oh.
always hurts us. I've told
that's
Chris
what I
knows this
do.
though. Anytime I do stuff for Fort Scott, it hurts us. Absolutely, man.
Did
You know what I
get
was going to say? Because I was just thinking of this though. When I did mention Reagan and you were saying Reagan is not the gold standard, you know what? And it's because people, I think, you know, on the right, they worship Reagan like he's a god. And
yeah.
well, I think Reagan did some great things. None of these people are gods. One thing that he did that I do think was awful, and I do think is part of the result that we're seeing these mass shootings truly, is we're the only country besides New Zealand that runs ads on TV saying that you should take this prescription drug.
Yeah,
And then
terrible.
people go to a doctor who the doctor is oftentimes being incentivized to put you on that drug. And we're prescribing ourselves with all these things that we probably don't have if we just had better diet, better exercise, and fixed ourselves.
Yeah, you can talk. You're good. Hand up. Go ahead.
That's not a president's problem, bro. That's the free market. He didn't say, "Hey, do that." They just did it. They do it to make money.
They weren't allowed to until then. They weren't allowed to run all these ads that said, you know, because we turn on TV and it's like feeling
Was that a
down,
law?
not feeling like you're not your usual self. You know, go
Remind
take
me, was it a
Paxil.
law? What was it?
Yeah, it was a law. It was a law that you couldn't run ads for prescription drugs on TV, and he eliminated that.
You think it really came through the president's desk?
Yeah, I could look it up right now.
Yeah, let's
I
look
know
it
it
up.
was under
I mean,
Reagan.
I don't know. I'll buy it
I'll
if
look
it-
it up.
if
We're
it's
doing a
real.
lot of looking up this show.
Ian follows it. I don't know shit. I do know that's a fucking problem. I hate that. That's why I don't watch TV. I watch movies. I can't even watch TV anymore because it's like
You watch all those
something-
really good movies
oh,
that are all false and anyway,
Yeah,
based on a true story.
based on true. I try not to watch movies about.
Yeah, so
Remember that
this
movie
was
Hidalgo?
that
Right? And
what
when
was
Viggo Mortensen had
Viggo
taken
Mortensen? Yeah,
like a shabby horse and he went to Saudi Arabia to do this trans Saudi Arabian race in the empty quarter, whatever. None of it was true. So it was funny too because they guarded that as this is based on a true story, and then the History Channel came out and said, "Not that one. No, it isn't true." There was a dude named Ed, and there was a dude named he had a horse, and that was about it. That was about how much
Hidalgo,
truth was
you
in
got
that. It was just
you got through that whole thing. Then I could watch half of it and I was done.
I
was
didn't
like,
see
Did
it.
I give you the
I-
answer since you made me
No,
look
go
this
ahead,
up?
go
though?
ahead.
So it was
Go
it was April 22nd, 1988. Reagan signed the Prescription Drug Marketing Act of 1987. So look, I do think that is a huge problem. I'll give you a real life example that happened to me. And this just shows you how the medical industry works. And yes, this is getting into politics a little bit, but I do think there are too many people on all types of prescription drugs.
Yes,
and then we
yes.
find out these mass shooters are on these drugs. So
yes.
I had to take a blood test in the city a few years back. And this sounds like I'm making this up. I swear to you, this happened. Okay. I had to take a blood test in the city, and it was an area that I don't usually go to. I think it was the Upper East Side or something. And this guy drew blood from me, and I was starving. I didn't really know the area, and I knew I wanted to get lunch right after this. So I said to the guy drawing my blood, the nurse there, whatever, I said, what's a good place to eat around here? Because I'm never really in this area. And he's like, oh, I don't really know what's around this area that much. And I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, you work in this building every day and you don't know what to eat around this place. And he goes, yeah, the pharmaceutical reps just come in here and they just give us food every day. And don't you think that's some type of conflict of interest, that we're helping you out, you're helping put more people on our medication? And so
Yes.
these people watch ads on TV and they're like, I don't feel like myself. I feel like crap. I feel sad. Maybe I need to be on Paxil. And then they go to a doctor, and the doctor's like, sounds great, and we'll sign you up. And they don't think about the many side effects, the guys that we're seeing kill themselves in the VA. It's all intertwined, man. But if they were to ever change this, it would disrupt a major sector of the economy, right? How many people work in pharmaceuticals? And I think it would change so much more than these gun laws that they think are going to stop all of the killings.
No, I completely agree with that. And you can segue into the transgender woke ideology that's going crazy right now too. So many of these kids are, well, I'm depressed, I need drugs, and then now they convince me that I need to cut my breasts off or cut my junk off,
or be on testosterone as a woman, right? And how many
puberty
guys?
blockers, puberty
How many
changers.
guys roid rage. I mean, if we heard about Chris Benoit killing his family and stuff, do I think some of that was steroid related?
Oh, yeah.
Quite possibly. And if you're going to put a prepubescent girl on those same drugs, you know, we heard about that transgender shooter. I don't think that means, you know, transgenders shouldn't be able to own guns, which was some thing that Ben Shapiro said, which I thought was ridiculous. But being on those types of drugs, do I think it could bring out, you know, a bad side of people? Yes, I do.
But more than I think what what you got off there beforehand was, if we have a prescription drug answer to everything, every little ill or malady that you may have, and now, maybe I like to play with Barbies, or you want to play with pickup trucks, Susie. Oh, well, now guess what we need to do? Stop your puberty and hack off pieces of your body. I mean, it's totally insane, bro. It's totally insane.
And it makes them customers for life, because they'll never be able to get off those drugs.
And you saw Matt Walsh, how he exposed the Vanderbilt hospital, how much they were making huge money on those procedures.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this episode with Chris Dutch Moyer. Really enjoyed having him on. We definitely talk a lot of Second Amendment stuff, so it's very appropriate that we talk about our Second Amendment sponsors, of which Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition that is designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it will be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. You recently had a battle line tactical course, and I know this is all you guys are shooting with.
It's the best ammo out there. It's the most accurate. It's just most consistent, at least through all my weapon systems. I can say that. And guys, if you're a hunter, you do anything from deer to coyote to hog or home defense, it's what's going to knock that animal down or that intruder down and keep them down with one. And that's what you want. You want it.
Which, by the way, I just saw Gage was hunting in from Fort Scott in Africa, right?
South Africa. They went down. Watch their videos. If you haven't,
you put up some great videos.
Yeah. If you want to see if you're a hunter and you want to see what the ammo does, go follow Fort Scott Munitions YouTube channel. And yeah, they were in South Africa, him and Robbie Forrester and Robbie's dad, Mr. Forrester. I don't call him by his first name because I'm still respectful. It's Mr. Forrester. They went to South Africa for a hunt. So check that out if you want any validation of their ammo. But it's the best ammo on the market, and the company in itself just has great integrity, which says a lot about the company, but also the integrity they put in their product. So it's all I use, and it's all I use for home defense.
Absolutely. So use the exclusive promo code BattleLine at FSM.com, even if you just want to check out their t-shirts and that cool stuff. But they do have the tins if you want to pay it to me, Harold, all different ones. Do they still have BattleLine tactical tins, or are those?
We sold out. We got to do another run, and we always do special editions. So it'll probably be around Christmas time. We just do special runs, but we're out. Yeah. We sold out, but we'll get them back up there.
So be on the lookout, but they do have a lot of different cool designs on there. So it's FSM.com, promo code BattleLine for 15% off. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, BattleLine Tactical, and the BattleLine podcast. This show is also sponsored by our friends at Photonis Defense. Now you can have the superpower to see in the dark with the Viper Binocular Night Vision System by Photonis Defense, which is the global leader in night vision solutions, providing more high-quality night vision capabilities than anyone. Military, law enforcement, and public safety end users utilize Photonis Defense solutions to give them the edge at night in tactical situations and rescue operations. Hunters, shooters, boaters, and enthusiasts can rely on the Photonis Defense Viper Binocular to help them become masters of darkness. The new Viper Binocular system carries the same features and benefits as the Photonis Defense Viper Monocular, with a ruggedized body, and harnesses the power of the Echo Intensifier tubes, giving you sharper images, reduced halo, and industry-leading ultra-fast auto-gating across the range of dynamic operating conditions. And Phil Otto, a favorite of the show, he's going to be back on next month. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff with the Photonis Defense. If we're at SHOT Show this year, we're probably going to do some stuff over there at their booth. So check out PhotonisDefense.com for more information. PHOTONIS defense.com or look for Photonus Defense product options from your night vision dealer. And before we get back to this episode, I will say, I've been drinking these liquid deaths like crazy, and they're not a sponsor of the show, but they sponsor so many cool shows out there. Like I'll listen to Tiger Belly with Bobby Lee and they're drinking liquid death, or our friends at Rockfeed. So I've been tweeting you guys on X. I would love to see Liquid Death become a sponsor of Battle Line Podcast. Just throwing it out there.
I haven't tried. I don't want to say it because I haven't tried it. So
it's really good, man. They have
so
this is the convicted melon, but then they also have the mango flavor, and I even just love the water in a can because it's Liquid Death. I love their imaging. How it's just their slogan is murder your thirst. So this is a free live read because I genuinely want to get them on board. But anyway, with that, let's get on to Chris, Dutch, Moyer. Hope you're enjoying this interview. Let's get to the rest of it.
It's always about money. It's everything we
I think
do.
You're right, Chris. Power and money. If you
Power
look
and
at
money. I mean,
power
come
and
on.
money, baby. Follow the money.
We aren't any different than some of the countries that we with the dictators. Because what's it all? When they get power, they got to have more power, and then they've got to get more money, and then the money, and it just is the same thing up with people in charge. It doesn't have to even be a politician, just even business people, and the pharmaceutical people. Yeah, they are the CEO. They're powerful as hell, and they've turned us into lapdogs. Is what I see. I mean, you see I agree with Ian on the effects of it, but what I see is they've turned everybody into hypochondriacs, and that nobody can handle adversity, which is what we used to do very, very well. We could handle a problem. If a grandpa's out in the farm, comes in and something's wrong, him and grandma could get through it. They don't need to take any drugs, and they've taught us, hey, we can handle adversity as well. But now there's a drug for that. You don't need to handle it anymore. You got a problem? Take a drug for it. You'll be all right. Hey, you don't think who you are? Well, take a drug for it. No, and sometimes you just got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and just grind fucking through it. And just that's how you get over it. There's not a quick fix for every damn thing, but but that's America though too. We're a fast food society. We want to fix it now. Like sometimes it takes some time to especially fix your emotions.
No, we do. I totally agree with you, brother. But we need to get some Americans back to the rugged individualism that came long before us.
And that was a thing in our country that we prided ourselves on. And that's the thing I remember from my grandfather being a picker from Mexico and working on a farm and then owning his own farm. I don't remember. He may have taken aspirin. I don't remember him ever taking it. He probably did. That some bitch was harder than hell. My grandfather would work his ass off and smiling, eating chili peppers with salt at the end of the day too. That was it. That's grandpa. That's abuelo. And grandma, she didn't play no games. No, whoop my ass if I got in trouble, and she'd tell me to and that went to my mom too. Pick your ass up, get through it, boy. You're all right.
Hey, brother. I challenge you right now, and it's recorded, so it's true. Ian will hold this right. I challenge you, and I hope you challenge me. Hold me accountable. But when I'm that age, of grandfather age, 75 or whatever I'm going to be, I want to be cutting wood, right? I want to be working with my hands with no gloves in the cold or the heat, doing stuff on the range, fixing fences or whatever the hell, outside with a dog.
I miss not being able to. It's been huge drought here. I miss not being able to work in my yard, man. I love working in my yard. I love just getting my hands dirty. So I've been actually what I've been doing is recocking the house. I've been going around all the cracks in my house because it's a nice house, but every once you gotta touch up your house to take care of it, dude. I'm out there recocking cracks in the windows and loving life, man. I got to get
you down here, bro. I got to get you down here to train.
Oh yeah,
it's been wet here. It's a lot of green. Get over here to train. I know you do some, we were going to train together anyway somewhere down the road, but got to get down here to train and then because this is what's going to happen because now me, your boy Dutch, I'm going to do the podcast from the sawmill right here. We're going to have 3 stations, and we're going to have, and I'll have a way to toggle my cameras back and forth, and I want to, we'll just do it from right here. And the folks that come in to train, of course, we're going to highlight those folks. But then we'll Zoom call in people too that can't come right away or coming next week. Maybe it's Toronto and his folks.
I would come anytime. You're in Texas, right? You're in Texas.
You're not asking
are you?
Me.
Yeah.
No,
South Carolina.
Oh, South
It's-
Carolina. Yeah, I would come anytime, man. But
I mean,
you know, so
Dutch
you
just
saying?
needs to come. No, that's what I was planning on doing it here because actually I do have it's I have to pan in because there's just so much. But this is my little studio here, so that was what I was planning on doing with you here. I only do probably 5 or 6 classes a year, but
Yeah, I
no,
know.
you're still coming in and
Yeah, no worries.
and
But I'm telling you,
teaching.
you need to come down here. Get down here. This is man camp right here, bro. 350 acres.
I would come there, and I know Chris, it's less likely, but I would be
No,
there. But
to train every once in a while, I'll get out and do 1 or 2. I'll get out and travel 1 or 2 a year. I still do and it's for people that I know, like yourself or Daniel Lombard at Devad Defense or out in Chicago or I'll get out with Ben out in Colorado. But here, definitely need to get you here. And no, you are coming out here to train. I want to do a ranger only train where it's 2 other
cool.
rangers come out and you guys we all each have a day and then we do a podcast, man. And we come out here and then we go get pizza down at my Marsoc buddy down here owns one of the pizza joints. You love it.
I didn't even know that.
Dude, yeah. We're going to have him on the podcast. His name's Brett.
Nice.
And he owns one of the pizza joints down at Pizza Republic, and we're gonna go down there and hang out. And I already got the place. I already got it hammed out, and then hopefully me and Dale Sizemore will get something going on down here with the Black Hawk Down 13 hours movie down here at the.
Or we might at SHOT Show. I know at SHOT Show he's going to be there. So if we're all there, that would be really cool to do one live from SHOT Show.
So
I'm getting
on
to ask you.
Keep going.
No, it's cool. I wanted to ask you about another topic, as you know, because I emailed you before going on in the Second Amendment world, and that was the Liberty Safe story. I mean, people already know the whole idea of Liberty Safes giving up the codes to the FBI for someone who was arrested on January 6th. They said that there was a warrant and that their policy is to give the codes if the FBI has a warrant. I'll be honest, I don't know enough about this story beyond that. I heard the headlines and I was kind of confused by it, but I'm sure you have your take on it, Chris.
Funny you ask. So at first, on its face, I certainly agree with people who don't, who want to be left alone. I want to say I'm conservative, but more than that, I think I'm a constitutional libertarian. I think is probably where you call me. I want to see
same category.
I want to see this country, survive on the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the amendments, and I want to be left alone. So Carson Choate wrote this the other day. I think in the Federalist, and some of this I wanted to cover, so I copied and pasted it onto my notes here. So they've come under fire, yeah. So and then Charlie Kirk had come out and he said he shared the FEC filings on the social media platform, which was Twitter, now X. That Liberty Safe's parent company, and this is where it gets just what we are all saying before, and Chris so aptly put it, follow the money. It's always about the money. He pulled the FEC reports on the company and found that $400,000 over the last 10 cycles of the maximum donations to Democrats. And the parent company is called Monomoy. That's how you say it. It's like Monomoy. So Monomoy Capital Partners. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to Democrats. And so that's, if this company doesn't care for gun owners, it's certainly possible. A lot of these companies, right? They start off from a small mom and pop type thing. They get real big. They're doing great work. Liberty's got great quality safes without a doubt. And next thing you know, somebody else takes over and says, yeah, but we ought to make sure everybody else knows all about them. And then there you go. The FBI says, hey, these guys, is this a conflict of interest? Of course it is. To me, it is, right?
I was kind of confused on how it worked, though, because I'll be honest, this is not my world. I mean, I cover Second Amendment stuff with Chris, but how does it work? Because what would they do if the FBI says, hey, we want the codes, someone was involved with the crime? Did they then have to fight that? Would it be a whole legal battle, or are they able to just say, no, we don't do that to our customers? I personally don't know.
Go ahead, Dutch.
Well, why would you?
Because they had a warrant and they said our company's policy is if you have a warrant, we do this. So I don't know. Like, are you able to just say no and you wouldn't have to put up money to have a whole legal battle? I don't know how. I genuinely don't know how it works.
So there was a lawyer named William Shipley. He said that Liberty Safe voluntarily gave the FBI because despite the fact that they claimed that there was a court order, there was not a court order to do so.
And here's the thing that was confusing too. This person who had the guns in the safe was in some way involved in January 6th, right? But other than, the shooting of Ashley Babbitt, which was a police officer, there were no guns involved in anything that happened in January 6th. So this is not like we need the gun of a murder. We need the gun of a burglary or armed robbery. So that's what's confusing to me. There were no guns involved in January 6th, other than what I just said. So I don't know how it even pertains to someone who was arrested on that.
No, it doesn't. And so therefore it becomes
to me, it's intimidation. To me, that's what it's like. Look,
I agree. It's intimidation.
Look what we can
encroachment. Do. You one entity. So you can't leave me alone. What was you saw the video months ago where the guy's on the front porch, right? And the ATF shows up with a law enforcement officer over here on the side. You got a law enforcement officer over here. You got ATF right here saying, hey, did you buy these guns on this list? Maybe we should come inside and check them out. Or you just bring them out and show us the serial numbers. No, that's not how this works, right? The answer is no. Come back with a warrant. What did I do wrong? What did he do wrong on January 6th? Because there was a lot of people that were there. Does that mean a lot of people need to be investigated? No. There was a whole bunch of people that didn't do anything. Maybe they showed up, maybe they walked away. It doesn't. And again, gosh,
it comes down to people doing the right thing, and they're not. And I didn't know Liberty Safe was owned by, I can't pronounce. Holy
Monogamy.
Crap! I did. I thought they were still that's how much I know with them. They do make fantastic. Give me right. The quality of their safes is probably top notch. Well, it is top notch. That's why they're so damn expensive too. But that being said, I thought it was still a mom and pop organization. I thought it was still like kind of family run. Granted, it's grown, but it's still. I didn't know that. I think there's a lot of companies out there in that 2A community, and I'm glad I'm getting some knowledge here, and I think others need to. We need to look to see who's these parent companies are that are run, because it sounds like we're getting played a little bit we're giving people money, kind of like the BlackRock thing. We're giving our investments to money to people, and that money is going to places that we would never actually hand it to.
I try so hard to do that with little things. Toothpaste, Colgate is distributed by an American company. It's not even made here, So I go to the little toothpaste companies like Tom's or something. When I buy dog food for the dog, so much of that dog food is made overseas, and then it's processed like somehow right on the edge of our waters or something. And that's the same with actually human consumption meat too. So much of that is processed right at the edge of. It's Chinese meat or whatever, and it comes right into the waters, and then they process it on a boat. They stamp the American flag on it, and off it goes. And it's all legal, but it'll say processed in America or something. It's not even American beef. And so I'm really paying attention to a lot of that right now too. A lot of it.
We need to. The Liberty
Patriot
Safe.
Mobile. I use Patriot Mobile all the time, and they have all the same towers. They use all the same stuff, but they're an American company. And they when they do when they do an advertisement, the same thing as what you're saying. They don't use your money to do bad to other things that you don't care for. They believe in the sanctity of life. They believe in the Second Amendment, and they go to places with your money because you bought their stuff, and they try to make those things continue. Again, the sanctity of life, the defense of the Second Amendment. So. I'm on board. I got sold. I'm on Patriot Mobile. So,
what do you think? You were talking about, and I've heard. I'm thinking about that too. I've heard of the Patriot Mobile on some whenever I'm driving on my AM radio. I do listen to AM talk radio. I still wish we still had the old school guys on. But getting into we talked about the sheriffs not having spines. The FBI's coming in and raiding. We teach guys, I did an ATF course when my knee was still banged up, but I went and taught the JSO guys, Jacksonville SWAT and the ATF TAC guys out there in Jacksonville. And they really are. They're just like us they just want to do what's right on the ground. But sometimes I do have a problem with it, because these are the guys that are serving the warrants that they know they shouldn't be doing, but they got to do it. And then they just say, hey, it's just my job. I have a problem with that. And so it is sometimes a conflict of interest to me teaching police or law enforcement, because wait a minute, am I teaching some guy that's going to kick down my door because I didn't do something. I don't know. You're an instructor. You're an accomplished operator. Do you get those same feelings? I do. Sometimes I do. Like, man.
So yes, but much less with
Okay.
law enforcement agents. And now that you brought that up, maybe I'll get it more. But
I'm sorry, man. I don't want to, because it sucks, because the FBI, to me, they're the people up in the head shit. Yeah, they're dirty. Same with the agency. But this is people on the ground. When are one of them? Hey, and I don't want to hear your bitching. I did. I stood up and said, "Hey, this is wrong." Yeah, I lost my security clearances. Of course, I knew that. Don't you think one of them? Okay, talk about the first part about you teaching them, but then also, do you agree that maybe one of them or two of them need to start standing up, those yellow guys, and
yeah, they do, and I think
saying,
they
"Hey,
have.
dude,
I
this
think
is
you have
fucking wrong." Okay,
I think what you're seeing now, you're seeing some more federal level guys. You're seeing some more whistleblowers. Glenn Beck just had an ATF guy on a podcast for almost 2 hours talking about what the ATF was doing. You got these more FBI whistleblowers coming out. I think there was a local law enforcement guy. I think I heard it on the radio or somewhere where he just said, "Look, I'm not participating in that. So I am going to go ahead and depart from. If you continue to make me do this, I'm quitting." But how powerful? Before I get into the civilian portion, how powerful is that paycheck? How powerful? I've been in for 18 years, and now 2 more years, all I have to do is just not make any waves until I can get a pension. And how powerful is that for my family?
Yeah.
That's powerful stuff, man.
No.
Especially in an economy like this. I mean, a lot of people struggle to find. I've the past several years doing this, there's been times where I've been struggling to find gigs. I mean, I'm happy with where I'm at right now, but I totally understand people doing that.
Hey, but
By the way, it's funny. What were we saying?
Well, I just, before you get into the next, I do want to know his feeling on the training. Do you feel, because there are times that I do feel a little guilty. I love the guys, and I want them to live. I want them to come home at night. But I also, like, guys, I don't want you serving a Liberty Safe warrant that is not right either. So what do you think? And maybe I'm way the fuck off base.
Every time I do a law enforcement agency, I talk to them about how bad the world is right now and the decisions you're going to have to make in the future. At least I could put a little bit of bug in them. Just say, hey, listen, you may have to make some really hard decisions, and you're going to have to figure out where you are on, where are you on that? Is it the regular citizen? Does the intel support it? Is he truly a bad guy? I said, because you're gonna have to make those decisions. You're gonna have to talk to him later on. So that's a big deal. The civilian portion to me is different.
Okay.
Because if you, again, 9/11 anniversary, I just watched Flight 93 again, which I think is a fantastic movie. And someone taught those men how to fly airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
the kid this was years ago, but not too far away. There was 2 mass shootings in one day. One kid was in El Paso, Texas, at a Walmart, and the other guy was in Toledo at a nightclub, at a street with a bunch of different nightclubs. The kid, if you watched some of the videos from that kid in El Paso, he was trained by someone.
Well, he was a Marine. Actually, I know that he was former grunt infantry guy.
Right.
No, because he knew how to. I saw it. He knew how to pie. He was pieing corners, and yeah, I remember he was recon or he was just straight up infantry, but he had been training from the Corps.
Okay. So that brings me to mind, who am I training?
Yeah, that's true.
Who are these 10 people I'm looking after right now? What's your background, and do we need an extensive background check, or do we just need a small background check, or is that even enough? I think the 19 terrorists out of the 4 or 5 or 6 of them could fly. Did they, even if we did a background check on them, would that even do anything?
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't.
And I guess it's just discernment too. I mean, I think what you said is very true, because when you were saying training law enforcement, you're not going to turn them down, but just planting that seed could make a difference. I think you just saying that it could be in the back of their mind. I don't know if it's you who told me this, Chris, or if it was Jeremy, but one of you guys told me there was an incident with someone who went to a battle line tactical course, said some things that were suspicious, and you had to let him go, right?
Right. We actually pulled him up, but it was pretty obvious when he took his shoes off on the shooting line. It was like, okay, he was way out there. Just something was wrong. But when we have those, and I know you guys have those safety measures, that's why you have multiple RSOs. Because if there is somebody that I think is a little janky, and I know Dutch, you do the same thing, I'll pull somebody, and we won't tell them. I'll just say, hey, whoever, Ben, Jeremy, hey, Ryan's, you are here with him. You stay right there with him, and you don't leave. And if he does anything weird, all right, we pull him off the line for a safety risk. So we do that. We have those. We have those safety measures in place. But yeah, we did. We've had one, but we did our background check. I mean, that's the thing is, I'm right with you. And what background? If he's out there with a firearm and it's his, we don't ask for all the FFL paperwork. But if he owns a firearm, he's already done got a better background check than I could ever do.
Unless he stole it from his grandma.
Unless he stole which maybe that's what we're going to. Maybe that's what we have to do.
The two shooters that stole their weapons from the grandma was
wasn't that Uvalde?
Uvalde was one of them. And what was the past years? It was the school shooter. It was
the transit shot in Tennessee.
Yeah.
No. Well, I don't know about that one, honestly, but the earlier than that, it's the tragic. It was elementary school. So he kills his grandma. He's playing games.
Are you talking about Sandy Hook in Connecticut?
No, was that Sandy? Yeah, Sandy Hook. That was Sandy Hook because that was
Sandy Hook. Thank you.
Yeah.
That killed his grandma and then puts the guns in the car and then drives over.
What do you think? Then how far should we do? As instructors, or what do you think we should do? What do you think? How far of a back is there an answer aside from doing a full ass background check, which we don't have the manpower? I don't have manpower as a small company to do. You may at the sawmill, but I don't.
No, I think in the end, we live in a dangerous, free republic. That's what it is.
Yeah. And just use your discernment. If someone there, as Chris was saying, is suspicious, you're able to say, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I know dudes that have removed people I have never had to remove anyone from a course, but I know men who have, and Chris just told me he just did. So it does happen. So
but it's rare. I mean, come on, we're talking over the last 6 years, including when I was training with Boone, we're talking close to 1,000 people we've probably had over the years.
But people got to use it because, I mean, you don't want that on your conscience. But no, I don't think anyone wants that on their conscience to know, I trained this person, I sold a gun to this person, if something, happens tragically. But the one thing I was going to say when you were talking about the law enforcement and the laws thing, I was actually just listening a couple of days ago to Louis J. Gomez on Joe Rogan's podcast, and they were talking about jujitsu and stuff. And I guess this was, when weed was a lot more illegal, and Rogan was saying he was rolling with guys in jujitsu who were former law enforcement, and they started talking about the marijuana subject, and they were like, I don't care how little you got, I'm busting you, man. And Joe Rogan was like, why though? Like, he's like, I smoke weed. He's like, I don't care. It's the law. So I do think there is some of that with guys in law enforcement sometimes, where just, it's the law. I don't care if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. I mean, I've never gotten pulled for a jury duty case, but I always feel like if I did, I would never want to lock a guy in jail for a nonviolent minor drug offense. I don't care if it's the law. It's not moral.
There you go. Those are the challenges that you're going to face, right? As a human individual, as a freedom loving American born, individual. You're just going to have to figure that stuff out. I wondered sometimes about the trainers who trained the dudes that flew the planes into the towers and what they thought of later. Oh, I remember that guy. But it was perfectly legal. We live in a dangerous republic, man, and it's free, and you're gonna have that. We lived in a dictatorship or in a authoritarian state, much more of authoritarian state than we live now. Look at Illinois. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. Now, whether a law enforcement officer is going to bust you for it or not, you're not allowed. I gave a class up in New York, and I drove through Pennsylvania, which was sort of allowed. But when I got to New York, as soon as I crossed the border, guys, I was a felon.
Yeah.
My 6-hour carry, I have 21 round magazines. I have a
New York City, right? New York City, because I will say here on Long Island, it's a little bit better. It's not the best, but
it was upper state New York, but as soon as you cross the border, you're illegal. So
got you, yeah.
But you still have to. Right, you gotta get up there and train. Get money. Mama's got to eat. The dog's got to eat, man. You got. And you're right with Pennsylvania. We used to train in outside Cherry Hill, Pennsylvania. And if you get out western Pennsylvania, it's extremely. They're just. I mean, that's country folk out there. Love that.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's cool. I will say. I mean, I don't shoot the way you guys do at all. But when I've gone to shooting ranges here in New York or New Jersey, Connecticut, I wouldn't even try, man. But Pennsylvania always has, the cool ones where you can shoot everything. And it's not like that here in New York.
No. So
What do you think? And we're coming up towards the end here, brother. And I know we wanted to talk a little bit about your thoughts prior with the Hunter Biden thing with him.
I wasn't even sure if it was worth it. I mean,
it's so
he's not going to go
minor.
to jail. Nothing's going to happen. But
I mean, you could, but I want to get into instruction a little bit since we're here. You've been teaching a lot more now, man. I see, and I'm glad you are, because you have a plethora, El Jefe, of information to give folks. You really do.
thanks.
But what are you seeing for when you go out and train civilian that people really, because we got a lot of shooters that listen to the show that you're seeing really need to work on. And what are you seeing where, not so much, maybe people are getting better, civilians, law enforcement as well, but I think more for civilians, because I'm sure they want to hear a little bit of your expertise, because if not, they have to pay for it, or at least here they get it for free.
I think a lot of folks on the plus side bring a lot of cool kit.
They do. The kit is a cool. They
buy a lot of stuff, man.
There's a lot of what now. Do you make them run around? If they bring it, you put them right. Good deal. All right.
Yeah. So we do. Yeah. For sure, we do a culmination. So if we do evolutionary gunfighter is my #1 type of class.
Okay.
Day 1 is all pistol. Day 2 is almost all rifle with a little bit of pistol, probably shotgun, and maybe even something you've never seen before in your entire life. You'll have to shoot that too. I'll give you an example. For one of the evolutionary gunfighters we just gave, we did a whole block on a combat shotgun. So we made them run under duress to a shotgun, put the shotgun in action, shoot the shotgun, move to another station, shoot that shotgun again, and then lock and clear, and then run down a hill, shoot pistol, and then put that away, and then run around again with a rifle and shoot that. And let's see, I think the best student was probably around just about 3 minutes. And so that's 3 minutes. If you obviously as fast as you want to go, right? That's where your heart rate's going to be. But evolutionary gunfighter, when I did the last one with a mystery weapon, it was the M1 Garand, and I have people run 100 meters with a M1, and then run back with it. So because they can't take it with them because it's my Garand. It's a 1944 Garand. And anyways, so that's fun. I make them run like Dick Winters did as Captain Winters. Not Dick Winters. Sorry, I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah, Dick Winters did in Band of Brothers when he runs across the dike there.
Yeah,
in the Crossroads episode. So what I do see, what people fail at all the time, is not moving the gun when they pull the trigger. My whole mantra is from Mike Voigt. God bless him. He's died of cancer years ago, but pull the trigger without moving the gun. It's an easy thing to say, but it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
And so one of the trends I'm seeing though too is I'm seeing. Just taught a guy personally for 2.5 hours the other day. He had never even fired a firearm before. Wow. And he's a business owner in town, and he's being followed, and he's being threatened, and the police won't do anything about it. So he's got a wife and a daughter, and he wants to know how to shoot a gun. And I'm like, dude, it's your right as an American citizen. Let's go. I'll teach you. Let's go. And, we talked about everything, but it's funny. On paper, he started pulling the trigger without moving the gun. He had a big shot group, right? It got smaller. I said, let's have some fun. Let's go over to plate rack, because we're all short on time right now. And we went over there, and he was missing all the time. It was just the mere fact that we went from paper, IPSC type style paper, US PSA, to a steel rack. And all of a sudden, he lost his ability to pull the trigger without moving the gun. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, I want to see that more often. So dry fire. People, anyone can go home with all the Gucci kit they have because they want to be a LARPer, right? A friend of mine told me that just the other day. These are LARPers, man. But anybody, if you're changing magazines, if you're experiencing malfunctions, if you want to move one thing from another, whatever, you want to test your connection of your rifle with your body, you do it through dry fire. You do it all through dry fire. You have to, right? So there's not enough dry fire going on out there. That's number one. Number two, is to me, getting people being serious. Was it 3 weeks ago now? We had a couple come in very serious. The young man was pretty good. He wasn't young. He wasn't old as me, but he was He's not, well, anyway, he was like in high 30s. And his girlfriend was there, and they did real well. They did real well together. And that's something I want to see too. I want to see couples training together, because as we know, things are going poorly in America today. And we already mentioned today in the podcast, how long is it going to take before the rubber band snaps back? I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I think free men and women in the United States need to protect themselves, and they need to work together to do it. Right. So again, we put on couples therapy stuff, and that's one of our biggest classes. We're going to do one in Reno next year, hopefully. It's just been a lot of fun seeing a man and a woman who like to shoot and then talk smack on each other as the woman's better or the man's better.
That is cool.
And we make them drive their own cars into this place here. Okay, now shoot from here. Now get out and bail. Get on the phone. Call 911. What are you doing? And then we make them go from the Starbucks and the TJ Maxx, and then someone gets wounded somewhere, and then they have to go perform TCCC immediately. And then get them out and call 911. So
that's a great class. I'm copying. Sorry, Sawmill. I'm taking that one. I'm copying that. That's a badass class. That's thinking outside the box, man. That's fucking outstanding.
I tell you what, a good friend of mine, John Kettman, he was kind of working for me. He's 30-year-old former SF guy. He's like, hey, I want to do this. I go, no, that's a stupid idea. He briefed me. I said, all right, let's change it a little bit. Let's make it this and that. He goes, Roger that. We'll do it. And I tell you, it was a great class. And we're going to continue to do really good things with that. So it was a lot of fun. Cool. And when we bring it to the Sawmill, we can bring it to the Sawmill. We can bring people together. I mean, here at the Sawmill too, we want to bring a couple different ministries here. I want to bring one of the things that I just recently did. I watched that movie, The Sound of Freedom. And that's Ballard's story, right? And Kavitziel's in there, and it's Angel Studios, and there are a lot of good things going on there. And what happens to the children after you rescue them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. So I want the Sawmill to be part of a canine and equine therapy, different sessions, different people, different groups, of course, and have some sort of ministry like that to bring in kids that suffered through that captive moments, and then bring them here and try to do some good things.
What's
cool,
and tell me a little bit. Because the Sawmill, a lot of people that are in there probably didn't even know it's there. It's wonderful. I mean, it's tremendous. But
thanks,
how big is it, acreage? And you guys have how many ranges you have there? And
I said 250. It's I said 350 before. I think it's 250 acres here. 250 acres. We have 1,000 meter long range. Pardon me. We have there's two longer ranges. One goes up to 400. One goes to 1,000. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 or 7 bays of different ranges. Each have a complement of steel. Not all of them have an overhang, but most of them do. We have a zero range. We have 2 superstructures you can work on. We have a moving target system. We have raise and lower drop systems. I'm trying to think of anything really unique. On site itself, we have a lodge that can hold over 40 people, full kitchen. And then after everything's over, of course, hey, order food or make food that you already brought. And then we'll have a fireplace out there. Maybe we'll have a bourbon or a beer and talk about what happened. Beautiful sunsets here. We call them the Sawmill sunsets, and you really can't, it's crazy how good looking they are. What else?
Well, you got the pro shop in the back. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just how much you guys can. The one thing with instructors, there's instructors, a lot of instructors. It's the facilities that allows that instructor that has that experience to do more stuff. If and that's what the biggest thing is. You're a tremendous instructor. You're just a good dude, man. I don't give a fuck about how good instructor you are, but you also have all that stuff out there to have fun. It's a playground. And that's what's cool. And I don't think I realized how big the Sawmill is. I don't even realize it until you talk about it. So, I think that's where people should get out and train, because you can do the group therapy. You can do stuff out there where it's not just shooting. We're
going to look, and I really want to move forward into more, like I already talked about the podcast. So we're going to start the podcast hopefully soon. We need to get some cameras up, but we're going to start the podcast. We're going to bring some ministry stuff in here. I want to bring a family night in here kind of thing, whether we either make it shooting in a movie or something like that. We'll see. Different instructors. I want to bring you guys in. I want to bring other
I'll come,
folks
man.
that I know, right? What's up, Leon?
No, I'll be there, man. Just let me know the time and day. I'll be there.
There's a lot of things I want to do here. We have partnerships with Rugged Suppressors, Crate, Grizzly. That's Born Primitive back there with the American flag. There's all kinds of kit here you can buy if you need to. Of course, there's a bunch of Sawmill swag here if you want it. But Steve's got a whole bunch of great relationships with other folks that I'm not even positive on. And one of the things that's coming up probably next year, hopefully, is Steve and the guys are working a concert. They're trying to get Kid Rock, Jelly Roll, Jason Aldean, some other stuff. Probably, hey, did you see the cat? The cat's out of the bag. I probably shouldn't even talk about it because it's not into fruition yet.
Should we beep it? Well, we can edit it, dude. We can beep it out.
I'll leave it on. It's just something we want to do. We really want to do stuff like that. It won't be here, but it'll be powered by the people that run the sawmill.
That's cool.
That's giant, man. That's so cool. And I think that's the cool thing about kind of small towns when a company like that can go in there and just they have a massive presence. I remember I went to actually South Dakota with I met up with Matt Bierkant, who served with Bo Bergdahl, who he's definitely not a fan of. But at the time I saw Dawkins' last ever US show, and there was that Badlands pawn shop. Do you guys know about that? It's no longer there, but it was no joke, man. This place in South Dakota. Do you know what I'm talking about, Chris?
Yeah, I've never been there. I've heard when I used to live in Omaha.
So it's in South Dakota. It's no longer there. It is a gun store. It is a gun range. It's a concert venue. It had a radio station. It had slot machines and a pawn shop. It was all of this all in one place. No longer there, but like that was the thing to do in that area of South Dakota. It was pretty damn cool.
You got to get slot machines in. You got to tell you that's what you're missing, man. Get some slot machines. Was it Rapid City? Wasn't it in Rapid?
No, I think it may have been Sioux Falls. I'm not sure.
Sioux Falls, maybe it was Sioux Falls.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
How cool is it though for you? I'll ask you guys a question. When you can get to go out, even if it's 8 times a year. Last year or the beginning of this year, when I went to Idaho, I did Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and I drove everything. I drove to Idaho. I went to Boise, and then we did a shoot there, and we did a shoot. Well, I did a shoot at the Lazy Bear Ranch from helicopters, which was fantastic. And then we went up to Coeur d'Alene area, Post Falls, and I'm blown away by just looking at the country again, right? And I came back through Yellowstone. I came back through Route 80, and just to see America, and just how cool is it that you get to see America when you drive? You're talking about Sioux Falls, or you're talking about different places.
Oh yeah, we did all the national parks there, man. I did Badlands National Park. Like, amazing. That's the thing. I think not enough people take advantage of the national parks in America because it truly is amazing. And you know, actually to go full circle, when we were talking about the problem of people in America being depressed and, you know, and all that stuff, man, I think it is just all the stress of everyday life that we kind of have. If you get out of your current, you know, place and you go to Sedona, Arizona, or you go to Badlands National Park, or you go to the Grand Canyon and you are disconnected, you turn your phone off and just have some time with friends or alone, I don't think you could be hating life. We hate all like the stressors, but man, it's amazing some of the stuff you can experience here.
Absolutely amazing. You're exactly right. America has so much still to offer. We have life left in her. And I think, you know, the administrations previously, maybe this one's certainly going on around, decline as a choice. They're pushing us through there. I think we can do better. Yeah. And man, hopefully we turn this big old ship around.
We will, boy. We will. And you know, this great country, and where I live, I'm 100 miles from any interstate. That's why I love living here. And watercolor skies back in the Midwest, especially in the Ozarks, where I live down close to it, it's beautiful. And just driving the back roads and still seeing co-ops and still going through the little towns. That's where I live. And that's why I love living here. And that's why all you people
say that too. So I tell the Google lady now, I say, I don't want to use highways.
No highways. I click no highways. So boy, it's still beautiful here. And that's why I love being here. And I wish we had the facility. I mean, I've got a little range. It's nice. I love it for me. I wish we had a lot of the stuff here, because it just, the training can get so much more intricate when you have all the acreage around you and you've got the moving targets. You can't simulate shooting somebody I'm not telling you to shoot anybody on the move, but it's hard to simulate that without without the target systems that actually do those sort of things. And it is different. It's way different than shooting static. So I don't know, but I know. And speaking of that, I got my daughter's volleyball game coming up here. In a
Yeah,
little
so
bit,
we'll
I'm
wrap
gonna go
things
see
up,
it.
man. But the last thing is, I'm sure people are going to want to train with you when they hear this.
Yeah,
At
definitely.
Chris, at Dutch Chris Moyer Actual, at Dutch Chris Moyer Actual on Instagram, ChrisDutchMoyer.com. But any other info, anything else you want to plug? Because I think people are going to go, this is a cool guy, I want to train with him.
I appreciate that, fellas. I really do. I appreciate the opportunity. But so DutchChrisMoyer.com, yes, there'll be a full calendar there for 24, and it will also mirror the same calendar that's here at the Sawmill, because all those training events will be now here. So the Sawmill Training Complex, you can look that up on the web. I think it's sawmilltc.com, sawmilltc.com, and then DutchChrisMoyer.com. So I don't know. We look forward to seeing everybody out here everywhere, but we got new ideas coming up for the family. So you wanted to steal the idea about couples therapy, help yourself. We have a new idea coming. We want to integrate the whole family into a shoot, move, and communicate through a structure or through a parking lot to get back into the car, to get away, and to just start those ideas, start thinking about what happens if something really bad goes wrong and we're all here in the Walmart, Target environment battlefield parking lot.
That's smart, dude. It really is. And yeah, as soon as you guys get that all figured out and it's streamlined, I'll steal it then. Yeah, this one I'll take.
Nice.
Hey, is there just one last thing? Because there are some new shooters and they get a little, they see Delta, they see Ranger, they get a little intimidated. Is there a course that you would recommend for a beginning shooter that you teach? Say, hey, come to this course, and then after they get to know you, then they're comfortable. That's how they are with me. But is there?
Yeah. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
On the basic answer is yes. We do a bunch of different stuff, and we do a lot of turnkey stuff. But the 3 basic levels, I guess you want to call my courses, I based it on, instead of Gunfighter 101, I based it on the Gunfighter. And so the Gunfighter Awakens is basic shooting, and it's broken down into blocks, and we talk about the primer, the casing, the projectile, the weights, the different burn rates. We talk a lot about that stuff, the cycles of functioning of the weapon, things like that. And then the intermediate course, which is my most popular, is called the Evolutionary Gunfighter. We talk about how things, like when you were a Ranger and you did up drills, you just shot twice and quit. Twice and quit. Nobody talked about the third sight picture. Nobody talked about what's going to happen next. Nobody talked about surveying your battlefield right over top of your rifle. So, but combat exposed and changed that into an evolutionary process. And so we go through all that with rifle and pistol. And then the most advanced one, which is I liken it to if you went to an amusement park, you would pay one price and you would ride any ride you wanted to for free. So at Time of the Gunfighter, here at Sawmill, we'll probably have 7 stations set up. There's less instruction, and there's more get after it if you want to do it. You test your metal on this 7-minute stage and test your metal on this 20-second stage and see where you go here. And we have things on that particular that thing. We do stuff that's mental too. I'll make you remember something at stage 1, and then when you run all the way down here and you're already gassed, you might not remember, so you may not hit them in correct order or stuff like that. But we make you do stuff like that.
Cool.
Awesome,
You guys know Dutch is a great guy. He may come across as a gruff, mean sergeant major here, but he actually is a big old teddy bear.
Very gruff and mean.
But genuinely, man, I mean, I appreciate your knowledge on the subjects we discussed, because this is completely your wheelhouse. So, I mean, I learned a lot from you, and honestly appreciate your candidness at the stuff at the top of the show and the stuff that you're going through.
Yeah, bro.
Sounds
Thanks,
like
man.
you'll be able to
everybody goes through it, right? I want to bring therapy here too. I want to bring like that PTSD type stuff. I want to bring a cold plunge here. I want to bring things like that so we can heal all of us together, the collectively in the tribe. So that's some of the initiatives I want to bring here too. But I appreciate that very much, Ian. I would tell you that I've been around the world a couple of times and done a whole bunch of stuff, but I try to remain as humble as possible. I am not the best instructor. I am a pretty good instructor, but I'm not the best. You may not get it. I tell people all the time, it's not my way or the highway. I will teach you a technique, but in the end, if you can get from A to Z, negotiate the bad guys, save the princess, and get to the team room to drink a beer, then you're successful. If you can do that without being wounded or killed, then you are successful. So don't think anything, but I'll try to use the knowledge that I have gained in the last, holy crap, 30 years, right?
You're old. Yeah, you're old as shit, dude. It's been a long time.
I just
fucking
turned
old.
59, bro. My birthday's on September 11th. So
Oh wow.
Well,
Wow,
I did.
that's great.
What was it? Did you say that? I did.
yeah,
Seems like I should know that, and I don't. Well,
I don't talk about, it's not a great anniversary for my birth anymore.
well, happy birthday anyway, you fucking
Yeah.
old fart, dude. You know, and that you're awesome way to say that, dude. Just get the objective, get it done, and get home safe. And if you can take a little bit from you, and I say the same
Yeah.
thing, can take a little bit from me, fine. Put it in your kit bag. If you use it,
Yeah,
fine. If
tool
you don't,
bag,
fine.
baby. Put it in a tool bag.
Yeah,
but
I
other
know
than that-
I've used the quote before on the podcast probably a bunch of times, but it pertains to so many things, including what you're saying is that Bruce Lee quote of absorb what is useful, discard what is not, add what is uniquely your own. And I mean,
Nice.
that pertains to everything, I think.
It does.
You know,
it does.
And I mentioned something earlier about the dry fire stuff like that too. If people out there, if I could give any advice, I want people to test themselves, right? So, like you mentioned, what Mr. Lee said, take what's useful and throw away the stuff that isn't. But if you can test yourself, the only way to do it, right? You know, Chris can make you go through some duress. I can put you through some duress on a stage like type of training. You should go to a match. Go to a match. The match is get your blood going. You get nervous when you hear the timer go beep, you know, right? A little poo comes out and you're nervous about it. You're excited to compete against other people. That's really the only way you can do it without attending a two-way range, what Chris and I would say a two-way range. Chris has been there before. I've been there before. Mine were nowhere near as exciting as his were.
Yeah, you're pretty damn excited. You got more stuff. You got more people getting to blow stuff up, though. I wish I would have had some of your assets. So not that that's a bad thing.
We had.
I don't know. I'm just still thinking of the picture, man. Just watching a gun run from the Little Bird at night vision is one of the
it's a lot of fun.
fucking things.
Hey, shooting a car from a shotgun.
From a shot.
With a shotgun from a pod on a Little Bird.
Holy crap, dude.
That's fun, man.
Just
Covering somebody from a bird
From
as
a
they
bird.
move up towards something else. That's a lot of fun.
That is so cool. All right, but now we're getting off subject because we can't teach that. Well, I guess we could. You could. At Sawmill, you could. I could. I don't have those.
At
kind
Lazy
of
Bear Ranch
resources.
shoot we did with forward movement training. I
Did
hope we
you
do it
really?
again next year. Yeah.
They do that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm in the back and I'm guiding, one shooter when they make this run and this shooter over here when they make that run. It was a lot of fun.
No shit. Are you doing flares? Are you doing like shift and lift with green star clusters or anything like that as
No.
well? Or you're getting that
It
in
was
detail?
simple.
Okay. I
Simple.
was like, wow, man, you're getting really into it.
Here's a target. Shoot that target.
You that target. That's cool shit, dude. Yeah, brother. People need to go train with you, and it's always an honor. And I love talking to you. And you're my brother and my friend. If you need anything, holler at me. And when the zombies come, you can come my direction. I'll come your direction. But
Thanks, brother. Hey, well, guess what? This will be a place. This will be a hard point without a doubt. So it's something to think about. I mean, it's terrible to say zombies, but when we say zombies, we really don't mean zombies. We mean aliens, or we mean someone else.
Well, it's
Whoever it is.
Bad news for those fucking zombies. That's all I could say for that.
Find a place.
Yeah.
Find a place. Find a good tribe, right? Get a collective, good group of people, decent people, right, who know what to do. Some of them find training, and those trainers need to train those other ones that haven't or can't go. And then, I'm not a prepper, but I'm a prepper. So get the food, get the ammunition, and get the, the fuel you need for your generator or whatever it might be, man. You need to be slightly prepared.
Yeah. Why not be prepared? Good Boy Scouts. We all used to learn. Hey, that's be prepared. God bless you, brother. I appreciate
Thanks,
it,
man.
man.
God bless you
Yeah,
guys
thanks
both.
again,
Appreciate
man.
you.
That's all for this episode of Battle Line Podcast. But we're always posting new content on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Battle Line Podcast and on Twitter at Battle Line Pod. That's an order. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes up every Tuesday. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. Believe in yourself. Face all challenges head on. And as always, never quit.